Howdy, folks. Luke Simons with you. Back to the Basics 101. Today it hit me, just a little philosophy. You can agree with this, you can throw it away. It doesn't really matter to me. You can do whatever you need to do. But at 40 years old, I'm hitting a growth plate in my life, a real growth plate in my life. And I've noticed it in the barbershop for a long time. It's easy to notice with other people. Sometimes it's harder to notice with yourself when you hit these growth plates. I remember when I was in adolescence, the growth plates. I remember painful joints. I remember a lot of things. I remember what I used to think was a tough day at the office, which, my mom made lunch at noon every day. She made breakfast. Then I went to school, and I remember watching the clock just tick, tick. Took forever. But those were growth plates. And I remember adolescence. I remember teenage years really well. I remember fighting my parents on a number of different things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And now I'm in my 40s. I'm 44. I'll be 45 this year. And growth plate. Major growth plate. In men's breakfast today, Matt, he has his PhD in psychology. Very smart man, good friend of mine. And he said something to me that was really powerful. He said something to everybody there. He said, in the 40s, and I'm not suicidal, white males in the 40s are the leading age group and variety of people that have suicide in America. 40s and white males. And before anybody said anything, I figured out why. It's because in your 40s, you are hitting that plate in your life where things you thought were real may not have been real. Things that you think that you thought all your life maybe weren't so. And it's a time of humbling experience, a time of reflection. It's a time of understanding. And it's a time of maturity. It's a time of wisdom. And wisdom comes at a cost. A man that I respect highly, I believe he's a prophet. His name is Farron, Brother Farron. And he said oftentimes, the Bible says, if you pray for wisdom, you will get wisdom. He said, but the reason why people don't get it when they pray that is because they pray it, then they go through hard times. When they go through hard times, they say, Lord, take these hard times away, not realizing that the hard times and the wisdom are connected indeed. They are connected. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Yeah. The reason why white men, primarily white men in their 40s, is the highest risk for suicide is because that's when wisdom will hit you. It is when wisdom will start to hit you. And things you think necessarily aren't real. And you just, cause and effect and all of these things will just start, and regrets, a lot of regrets. I could have done this better. I could have done that better. And of course, I've always said that in life you don't have reverse, you just have forward drive. You have to push forward. That's what great people do, is they push forward. And it's just interesting to me. I've been thinking about this all morning long, pretty much. And so let's see here. If you are a low-valued man, let's say you're not mature, or and the sad thing is if you're not mature, you don't even know I'm not talking. You don't think I'm talking to you right now. I used to think when people would say, when I was young, I didn't even know what real sex was. My wife and I, she was actually sexually not even pleasured at all. And I used to think, oh, that's really dumb. They don't know what they're doing. And now I'm 44 years old, and I realize I did the same exact thing, thought I knew what I was doing, but I didn't have a clue how a woman worked. And I'm not trying to be sick. I'm not trying to be perverse at all. I'm just stating a fact. I was into myself. I understood myself. I didn't even understand myself, in truth. But those things come with time. They come with wisdom. So if you're a low-valued man, I had this happen to me today, actually. A guy came in, and he was talking to me. And he was talking, he has 4 children with 3 different wives, 3 different women. And he was just saying, I can't, I moved away from my old lifestyle to try to, and I'm like, everybody there realized who the problem was. He was, but he wasn't at a spot where he could hear it probably. So I just started asking him questions. I felt like Jordan Peterson. And he said to me very quickly, no one's talked to me this way. What you are saying, this is questioning everything that I think. Well, it's because he was thinking wrong. But I said, so you have 3 different women, and if everything you're saying to me is true, well then, yeah, they're problematic. But when he walked in the door, I already seen that he was very problematic. And I said, the truth is, the gal you set your cap for, like the beautiful, beautiful gal, who is she dating? He goes, well, like my bosses or the owners of the companies of the place I work. I said, yeah, why? Why is she dating? Because they have money. I said, no, that's not why at all. Money is an attribute of a clear-thinking person. People that aren't clear-thinking don't have money. They don't have money. Because they have no self-discipline, they won't have any money. Their money will go away very quickly. It's just an attribute of people that are, I'm not saying people that have money have all their life put together. That's not true. I'm not saying that. What I am simply trying to say is they have a concept of maturity of money, some self-control perhaps, okay? Well, I said, so meaning you're not dating those kind of people. Who are you settling for? He goes, well, women that will date me. That's pretty true. So if you're not a mature person, and as 40 years old, I'm seeing these things, and I'm tying this into something. If you're not a mature person, you're going to get immature people, damaged people as your spouse, man or a woman, it doesn't matter. If you're a woman and you're not a mature person, you are going to get a damaged man. And you're going to have to deal with the repercussions of working with a damaged man, living with one, marrying one. If you are not mature, you're going to end up marrying a wife, being with a woman that is damaged goods. And because of that, you're going to have problems. Just if you buy a vehicle with problems, you're going to have a vehicle with problems. The problem is I've noticed that in my barbershop and even in my own life, you hit this 40-year era and you start to get a maturity to you, a level of living ideologies that, wait a minute, was I right there? Was I wrong? Was I able to admit that I was right or wrong? Being an American, you're supposed to own you're supposed to, there's a couple of different things. One, personal responsibility and owning one's actions. So I've noticed that a lot of people in my barbershop in the 40s, and I have a barbershop. First time I probably ever said that on YouTube land. I love my barbershop. I absolutely love my barbershop. They get divorces. And I've worked on these people for a long time, and the reason why they're getting a divorce is because the man is doing his soul searching at age 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. I think I started right at 39, 40-ish is when I started getting it. And I think some men are smarter than others, but in my case, that's what happened to me. And it's common. It's it's not a phenomenon. It's normal. And you start to guess. You start to really think. And this is the wisdom age where it all starts. And I have a theory why the divorce rate is up in that era is because woman is used to a man that maybe wasn't very mature. And maybe she came from a rough upbringing or maybe, I don't know, neglect or physically, sexually abused of some sort. And so she marries who she can marry. And he marries who he can marry. And then when that person starts to change, you don't know how to live with them anymore. You don't know how to live with them anymore. And so, if you're in a case like that, it's a tough case. Get some help. Get some spiritual guidance, or go to regular counseling. Counseling can take a long time to get the right counselor. It can take 3-4 times. I'm telling you, I had real bad anger issues most all of my life. I would say in the last 4 years, I've really started looking at anger issues and what stemmed that and how to get around that and realize it's just an emotion. And it's caused a lot of grief in my life. Anger and danger are very similar. And I just started to realize in my short 44 years of life that if your vehicle is veering to the right really bad, you take it and have it taken to an alignment. That's what you do. If your vehicle is missing, you take it to a mechanic. That's what you do. If you are having a problem in your mind, thinking things real, what is not real, seek some counsel, whether that be spiritual counselors, whether that be a counselor, I don't care. Get some counseling. The 40s, it's a time of reflection. Not everything, my son, he told me, he said, you would have never let me do that. And I said, son, I was wrong. He looked at me. He said, Papa, you raised me that way. I said, I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. During a man's 20s and 30s, if he's doing things and having children, he's worried about having a living, making a living for his children. And he can get really involved in that. He can get actually sidetracked in that. But in the 40s, if you do things fairly decent, you start to have a little bit more money. You're not worried about the lights getting shut off anymore. You're not worried about, them coming repossessing your children or whatever. So you have a little more time to think. And what am I good at? What am I not good at? Maybe people you hurt in your life. Maybe people that you could have done better in. I lost both. All of my grandparents are gone now. And I was blessed to have them this long. I really was. I lost both my grandmothers really relatively side by side, really. Both my grandmas, from both my mom and my dad. And I'll tell you, that's a tough, sobering days. There's days where it's just like someone sinks an arrow in my heart. But did I visit them enough? Did I tell them I loved them enough? Because they certainly did to me. And, these things, it just eats at me. Did I spend enough time with my kids? I have a daughter that's not living for the Lord right now, and, I'm just self-guilt, and I'm in self-guilt. I don't think she is necessarily, but, it just tears me up. It just tears me up to see sin and the evil one ravish in it. And I love her tremendously. And, it's just my relationships. And could I have been a better friend, better husband? Most certainly. Most certainly. And I realize that I don't have reverse. I just have four-wheel drive. So I have to do what's right. And it's not always easy. And, you're grabbing a gear. That's what I'm doing. I'm grabbing a gear at age 40. And you get a whole new perspective of life, a whole new perspective of wisdom And what is wisdom? Men, what makes you the most strong species on the earth, and the stronger of the two sexes, whether anybody likes to hear it or not, is the ability to control one's emotions. And women, I mean, not as a whole, but they're a little more emotional than we are. So when we act out in emotion, well, we're acting feminine, and that's hard. And with my anger, I have to say, I mean, I was probably very masculine in a lot of my aspects of my life, but not when it came to anger. That anger cost me tremendously, tremendously. I didn't have a lust problem. I didn't have a stealing problem. I didn't have a drinking problem. I didn't have a pornography problem. I didn't have all these different problems. I didn't have a lying problem, but I had an anger problem that controlled me. And it really, really negatively affected me. And that, I still appreciate your prayers. But I hope some of this helped you. If you're hitting that age in life, just know it's a growth spurt. It's a growth spurt of what is and what is not. And, a lot of the great writers, they didn't really start to be wise until they were in their 40s, 50s, 60s. And it's a perspective. It's a perspective. It's a true perspective. So, well, I hope this was a ray of sunshine to somebody. If you are going through the same things I'm going through right now, and I'm not depressed. I'm not. It's not like that. But it's a time of deep reflection. I just went to a friend of mine's funeral, Thor, and 33. Just killed me. Just kills me. Beautiful wife, beautiful children. Beautiful family on both sides. And I love Thor. It just couldn't be told. And I see a lot of similarities in some ways in my life. Thought I could. But can you really be told? Died from fentanyl overdose. Just kills me. Nicest guy. Charisma. Help you. Do anything. Played music like you can't believe. It cost him. That's where I'm at. A lot of things cost me as well. Love you all. Appreciate your prayers. May the Lord guide and keep you until next time. This is Luke Simons. Happy trails.